Hello.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. It's Tuesday. Woohoo!
It that's like it's Friday.
Lean
Thank you for
in and
joining
show
us,
us the
everyone.
sun shining on the lily there.
Yes, it's warm here still. So, although we did have a strong storm here. Hello, everyone. So, who is here with us today, guys? Hi, June. Hello.
Hello.
Hello,
Camille.
Kim. Hi, Abdul. Hi, Kim. Camille. Oh, thank you, Katie. Hello, Angie. So I'm going to, before we jump into the cookie decorating, those of you who follow me on Instagram, I just wanted to quickly bring this up. So yesterday, or was it last week? I don't remember, but I had put up this question, if you guys knew what I was making. And then, of course, the first answer that came in was correct. I was making pine cones, and my lovely friend June of the Baroque Baker, she has a wonderful store, and you guys can check it out. She was the first one who answered correctly. And also yesterday, I put up a similar question, and this one received. What do you guys think this is? What am I making with this? Because
You want
most
us
of the
to go
folks thought that
first?
I was making bricks.
I'm gonna guess. Can I guess?
Yes,
A roof.
yes. You are correct. You are correct because your brain is now thinking in a gingerbread, right?
Yes.
Gingerbread houses. So yes, so this was the roof, but most of you guys said it was bricks. And then my friend Esther, she emailed me, and she was the one who guessed correctly. So I'm gonna try to have these little challenges for you guys, so we can give you a shout out during the live. Okay, that's it. That's from me.
Awesome.
Pop
Hi,
tarts.
Callie.
Hello. Oh, we have so many people joining in. Hi, Sally.
Who's this guy?
Hey, Byron. Yes,
Byron. Of course we
remember
do.
Tracy, Milda.
So this
Wow.
is Portuguese. I don't know Portuguese,
No.
but hello.
Hello.
Oh, Kim.
Oh, Kim. Oops. Well, we are glad that the surgery went well, and
Yes.
sorry that about the new problem there, but hopefully it will be okay. You just have to just try to think positive and always that it
Yes.
always does.
Sure, you're in good hands as well. So that's we have
Mhm.
to trust the doctors and
Good morning.
work.
Wow, 100 degrees. How is that possible?
Wow, what part of Illinois is that? I would like to know. That's hot.
Hello. So today, actually, there was a question in the beginning: who is in a hot seat? So, um,
It's me.
oh, it's Marlene time. So Marlene is in a hot seat.
So these are the cutters today. So let's start with just a little preview. Here's the picture. And so I'm using supplies from our new toolboxes that we created. So these are supply bundles. You can order them at Global Belly. The link is kind of at the bottom there. Amber also has products there if you want to check it out. So there are tool bundles that we created, and then there's project bundles. But this is bundle 1 and 2. So it's a subscription. You get tools every month, and those that are circled are the ones I use to make this particular project. And if you sign up this month, you get a bonus cutter. So that's and so I'm using the colors here, and if you see, you get 2 gels with each bundle, and the orange and purple make a lovely brown, and then the blue and yellow make greens. So you get 6 colors, and you can play with that even more, like making other variations of colors. Any of you guys make your own colors, or do you just prefer the bottle, right out of the bottle?
I love making my own colors. I'm guys, for those of you who are interested in checking this amazing toolbox bundle, these bundles, I'm putting a direct link to the first 3 that we put together. in the comment section, so you can visit that page. I love making my own colors. Like I love playing with different colors and putting color together, like mixing and creating different
It's a
shapes.
little bit more
Yes.
personalized.
Mm-hmm.
You too, Amber?
Yeah, I always am mixing up colors to make my own. Like I always like to make them a little bit like dusty looking, I guess, like a dusty blue or a dusty pink.
More earthy vibe I get from
Do
you.
you what do you add? What color do you add to do that?
So if I'm making a dusty pink, I'll put a little bit of blue into the pink or black or brown, something to like muddy it up a little bit,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Exactly.
it makes it more realistic because things aren't necessarily all fluorescent, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So this is a preview, okay.
Okay.
Here it is again, okay? So I do have the template in my Patreon, in the Facebook group. I added the royal icing transfer templates, and I also listed it on Coffee if you want to buy the template. It's in Coffee. So the cutters are from the 101 cutter set in that bundle number 2. There's a great cutter set there, 101 cookie cutters in that one container.
It's amazing. If you don't have that set, just purchase the second bundle, and you will not regret it because it has.
We have the boo-boo stick too. Everybody always asks about the boo-boo stick. A boo-boo stick's in there. So you can see here, this is a football, but actually it makes a really great base for the cookie. And you can see here, in the photo, it's not standing up yet, but you can see here
that's
how
great.
nicely it stands up on the football. It's exactly the correct width. It doesn't stick out so much. And I wanted to wrap it, but I didn't have a good gusset bag. You know those bags?
Yes.
But
yes, if you have a large enough bag.
Very cute.
Really, I like that it's not a shape that is too obvious. Like it's not a flower or anything, so it fits nicely.
And then you can add some little candy pumpkins if you want, at the bottom of your bag when you wrap it up, or jelly beans, whatever you want to add. Okay, so here, I'm going to move the cookie into frame. Oh, actually, let's start with the transfers. So I printed off the transfers because, so generally if you're making, so let's just look at this picture here that I created for you guys. So once you've made your icing, when you make your icing, it's stiff when you make the icing. So if you want to make dimensional elements, you're better to make them as transfers, because then once you're done with that icing, you can add liquid to it and make it flood. Whereas it's very difficult to go the other way around. When your icing is flood and then you start adding powdered sugar to it, you can thicken it, but it's never quite the same. So this is kind of the way, if maybe you're getting the royal icing mix or something, this is kind of the way to get your dimensional transfers made, and then use that leftover icing, put it back in a bowl, add a bit of water or lemon juice to it, and then you'll be able to use that. So let's start with the transfers. So here you can see there's, if you print it there, I did it in black in case you wanted to drag this in your silhouette to cut the house and make your template. I didn't end up making the doors as templates, but you have the little ghosts, and this is pumpkins. I made them in different sizes, and then this is the shutters on the window. Any questions?
Sally has a very very valid question, I would say. Well, you're looking at, I think, I don't know if Amber has the 101.
I don't have that one.
But I purchased it years ago, and that it did not stop me from getting 1,000 more.
Mm-hmm.
But it really is such a great set. It just opens up a lot of different possibilities of what you can do, and it's and if you don't want to invest in a lot of cutters, it's a good starter kit for sure.
So Jennifer, I guess you could. The thing is the guessing game, right? Because you don't know how much icing is in there, and so it can work. But if you're, my way is maybe a little bit more, I think, like safe in that you know how the icing is going to kind of react because you have full control of like all the measurements and everything. But sure, it can work. You can make it, you know.
I think the problem is with a lot of recipes that I get this question a lot because my recipe comes out thick, right? It's thick.
Yes.
But a lot of people expect it to come out the way they're going to use it on a cookie. So they think it should come out flat, like more fluid. So if you see a recipe that there is a lot of liquid, you have to, you know, think about it, because when it once it's too floody, once it's flooded, like flood consistency, then it's really hard to reverse that. Because
Yes.
then, like Marley said, you're gonna throw off the ratio of powdered sugar and meringue powder off. So it's better to start with the stiff and then finish with water. That way, everything is in balance.
So in the bundle number 1, there's this set here, which is 6 piping tips, and this is, you know, kind of a great handy tool when you're working with the thicker icing. So here I'm working with the 32, and I'm quickly making pumpkins. Here, let me try to zoom in here. And you're squeezing, okay? The icing starts coming out. And just as it's coming out, you can kind of stick it on the parchment paper so that it tucks, the beginning tucks underneath and it gets hidden. And then you can just kind of rub down on your surface and you get your little pumpkin. Here, let me position.
You had to do the
Eh?
candy corn. You had to do the candy corn shape. I see you are able to put it anywhere because you love it so much. This is like a little candy corn shape.
It is, but it's like a kind of a tall pumpkin, you know? So you're just tucking the beginning under. That's kind of like not as pretty, right? And then you can kind of just pull up and then you get just a really fast pumpkin. So you can use these on ghost cookies. His little arms can be holding a bunch of these little pumpkins. You can use it on so many different.
You could use it on a mermaid, if I may so.
Or Christmas tree, if you want.
So you can, yes, it's very cute. So this is a stiff consistency, right?
It is. It is. So the thick icing, the thing that's great about the stiff icing is you can really work very, very quickly. Like I'm going slow right now because it's like I'm trying to demo it, but you can crank out like, you know, hundreds of these little pumpkins. And then let's say some aren't as nice. Well, you can just discard them, you know.
And is this parchment that you're piping on?
Parchment paper.
And this template is available in your coffee shop?
The what?
This template is available in your coffee shop?
It is there, and also in the 2 groups on Facebook and Patreon. I did add it there. And so here's a littler version. And so this tip is maybe a little bit big for the little pumpkins. You can also use the small, there's 2 star tips in that little kit, and you can switch it. And you see here, it's making like quite a bit of a point. So you can just kind of tap them down, but it makes a cute pumpkin. So you can quickly crank those out. And if you want to have a standing pumpkin, I'm going to do it over here just to show you. So I've got my piping tip, instead of angled, I'm right like standing up and I'm squeezing, and you can go up, you see, and it makes more of like a standing pumpkin. And what I like to do in these particular things, because now it's like really pointed, it looks like a Hershey's Kiss. You take a pearl and you can kind of like squish it down, and then it gives it again more of a pumpkin shape.
Oh,
you see?
very cute. Yeah.
And then you can.
It's almost like the candy you had shown earlier. Little, you know.
Yeah, it's exactly that, except you can like kind of do it at home. And then I've switched out. I had my basket weave, but now you see I have a round tip, and you can hide that little pearl and add a stem onto your little pumpkin. And so
that's adorable. Love that.
Your little pumpkins, okay?
And how long do you let these dry?
I like to do overnight, but if you're planning on making Halloween cookies, you could start these now and set them aside, you know, and then that decorating time will be so much less stressful if you have all this stuff made in advance. And then you can freeze your leftover icing for the actual decorating day. The shutters, if you could use them on a Christmas version. I want to try to make a Christmas version of this house after. And now these are the shutter, the shutter shape. You see, so I measured it for the little windows. And so you're just piping, where is it? Where am I on frame? So you're just doing straight lines, you see? And my icing's not 100% mixed. And so it gives it a little bit more of a,
wood grain.
yeah, it looks a little bit more realistic, I find. And there you just have these quick, and again, you can make them so fast. This is the piping tip also to make a mummy, if you want to make mummies.
Would that leaf that comes in the kit, is it a little bit too big for these tiny pumpkins?
The leaves, yeah, I think so. You could cut the bag though, the tipless bag, you know, with the little beak, and make it a little bit of a smaller size because it is a bigger leaf. So here, the shutters, it's just a straight line, and then you can switch it out, the basket weave, to the round and make a line the other way to make, you know, that little board. I'll do it and you'll see what I mean. So it's like,
what is this tip? What's this basket weave tip?
47.
48.
Or 48?
48. And that comes in the kit.
It does, in that little Ateco 8.
The set of it's fantastic. The set of these piping tips. It comes in the first bundle. That's the first bundle. It's on the left. And if you order it this month, you will have 10 days left. You will receive a free cookie cutter with that bundle. That's a free bonus cutter. And next month, we have the kit on the right-hand side. And the cutters that Marlon is using are from the one-on-one cookie cutter kit from Wilton, which is great to have.
So you see here now I'm doing the little lines the other way. And it's just giving the little, and if you have, maybe you have Halloween sprinkles, you could put it while it's wet in the middle of the shutter, a little pumpkin or a little bat. I mean, there's so many little details that you can add to make these little houses just a little bit more special.
You could use this to create, Deborah loves your shutters with a distressed wood kind of a look. But you could also, I love this idea to creating, what's it called, the picket fence.
Yes.
Like,
yes. Yeah.
These and just, you could, yeah. And then build around the house, you know, put it up around the house. That would be really cute.
Oh, yeah.
So the thicker icing can sometimes rupture the tipless bags. So in that 8-piece, you have that washable kind of thicker material. So you can actually put the tipless bag inside that fabric piping bag, and it'll give it just a little bit more. And
I forget, is there a coupler also?
There is a coupler, but if you just want to solidify your tipless bag, you know, like the tip will stick out of the cloth and it'll give this a little bit more, and then like it stays clean, the plastic, and you can just kind of use it as an insulator, like just to make it a little bit sturdier, you know?
Because I wanted to show people that how you made the brown, because there is no brown in the kit. So you see the Marlin used orange and violet and purple. Basically, you can use orange and purple to create a brown, and then you can use I believe it's lemon, blue, and orange or purple to create black. I can't remember now.
Well, it's the purple, because right in the purple you have blue and red in there, and then
I guess it's not. So I guess it's orange, or maybe I'm missing a color. I think it's red that you need to use.
Well, there's red in the purple, so you just have to add more purple to the brown, and it becomes really close to jet black. So now here are the ghosts, and so this is not as thick, the icing, because I want, like, it's thicker than flood because I want to be able to have a really dimensional little character. But if it's too runny, the whole thing kind of like the perimeter line gets really not as sharp, and your little guys dry quite like flat. But you want the icing to be able to kind of self-level. So you can see here the little ghost.
You look really like puffy. So thank you for joining us, those of you who are just joining in. Claudia, Milda. Donna likes to use the dehydrator to wrap her transfers.
Me too. So you see here, I'm just kind of like shaking my piping, the end of the piping bag in the icing. I'm kind of agitating it so that I get like the healing to happen, but I still want it to be fat. And if you want it like to be fatter, just stick the whole piping tip in the icing to kind of inject instead of adding to the top. Kind of build it like you're inflating a balloon kind of. And there you get these really cute little ghosts. And again, you could add these to, you know, different, get creative with your designs. You could put it on a tombstone, or I don't know, like think outside of like what you know, look at card decoration, like people who make cards, people who do stamping. Sometimes you'll get unique ideas there. Go walk around Michael's. They've got recently, yeah, they do. They've got recently some laser cut kind of decorations that you kind of paint yourself, but those are kind of inspirational if you look at them with your cookie brain, the things you can do with them. So there's your little ghosts. And if you want, the thing again with the tipless bags is you can cut the hole like as big as you want. So cut a tiny, tiny, tiny hole, because these are really small, and you can pipe the eyes, if you want to have eyes, on the little ghosts, and then you can cut it bigger for your actual cookie. But you see, you can pipe like really, really small, and then you get these cute little ghosts. So you make these before decorating day.
Milda is asking if you can just air dry these.
Yes, yes, of course. Yes. We use a dehydrator just to speed up the process. But if you don't have one, you just leave them out and they'll dry. And you see here, you can add a little stem to the pumpkins. And if you want, you can do it with a tipless bag and have it be a little smaller. And you have your little pumpkins pre-made to add to your little houses. And then if you wanted this thing, basically I'll redo it probably around the holidays. It's a similar tip to make Christmas trees. So you make your icing green, then you can pre-make little pine trees to stick in front of your little house for the holidays and have like more of a Christmas twist.
So when you get back, Dana is asking, do you like to use parchment or wax?
Yes, I do.
You like to use parchment.
But Anne likes wax paper, and sadly in Spain there's none, so I brought her some.
Yes, I do like wax paper because I find it doesn't get wrinkly as much. But lucky me, I was just telling Mar that the last year I had placed an order, just a second, and I got myself a different parchment paper that is coated. I believe it's a food grade silicone coating, and I do love it because it's not it didn't wrinkle at all. But the only issue I had with it was that the decoration literally slides off. Like you have to be very careful not to pick it up like this because it slides off without you doing anything to it. So as soon as it dries, it literally retracts from the paper. Suppose wax paper doesn't do that. And wax paper also, if you want to speed up the drying, I would not recommend. I did that. I mean, it doesn't catch on fire or anything.
Oh, I remember.
It was like a very low temperature. It dried faster, my decorations, but it stuck to it. It's like the coating on it melted or something. But it's not like, I don't think it's dangerous or anything. But if you want to do that, use the parchment. My 2 cents.
So there was something here I wanted to, here. So, Milda, so it depends how fat they are. So if they're very fat, like my pumpkins that I made that were kind of on the big side, those will take longer, like the ghosts would dry pretty quickly. So that's a factor, how big they are. Usually if you're making them in the evening, by the next morning, they're fine. If you're making little flowers that are very stiff icing, a couple of hours, usually you can lift them off with a little kind of tool like this or a spatula. But, and in the winter when the heat's on and it's very dry in your house, stuff will dry faster. So there's a few variables, but, I usually won't like to make transfers the day I want to use them. Just the whole point of them is to reduce the amount of work in a day. So kind of, right? Any other questions? Yes, I generally in the past I would use either a rectangle or a big circle, but when I saw the football, I was like, oh my gosh, this is perfect. And that football would make a very nice poinsettia platter as well. Poinsettia?
Yes, poinsettia. Or petals, flower petals, even sunflower. If you wanted anything with flower, like yes,
Yeah.
you create flower petals.
So I just want to show my prototype. So I had kind of quickly thrown this one together just to get my idea on. And you can see here the difference in the shutters, you see? So this was like piped on. And so they're kind of like rounded, like icing reacts. I prefer this version. And then here again, like the pumpkins, they're piped. I was trying to get like the dimensional kind of sections.
Mm-hmm.
And I do like just the star tip. So it's like, I don't usually make a whole lot of prototype cookies, but in this particular case, I did struggle with regards to I don't know, it wasn't coming to me that quickly. So I said, I'll just quickly make one. So here is, what do you,
I'm going to look it up. I don't have the packaging here in the studio, so I will look it up and next week when I'm in a hot seat, come join us and I will tell you what brand it is because I don't have it here.
hello, Monica. Hello. Okay, so where's my videos here that I preloaded for you guys? So I have, did I put the brush on? What is this here? No, this is the ghost, and this is this. I thought anyway, so I didn't put this particular video, but it's just brushed on the yellow. So the whole point, like the yellow is very, very runny. And the reason for that is because I wanted the windows to be kind of inset. You see, like there's like a bit of like, it looks like it's two levels, and you do that by brushing on the icing. This dries super quickly, and then you can use a template. So I cut it out with scissors, and then you can trace that on. And so if you don't have markers, you can just use a toothpick or something and scratch in your icing. And adding these guidelines is just helpful to have all your cookies be the same. And maybe you're not that artistic, you're more technical. This will just help you kind of like quickly get it to work for you. Sometimes it can, once you get in front of the cookie, if you have nothing, no idea where to start, you kind of like blank out a little bit. Kind of happen
No, I
depending.
always like to have like one little guide is going to make a whole lot of difference. So you can like once you start, right?
Yes.
It just makes like, oh, I can really do this. Because sometimes you're looking at it and you're thinking, I can't do it because I don't know where to start or is the square here, whatever. So this really helps. And this template is also in your coffee shop?
It is. I put it in 3 places. It's in the Patreon, it's in the Facebook group, and it's on coffee. So something for everybody. All right. So now this is the almost black color, and I'm outlining the door and the windows with this. And the reason I did the roof before coming on is because I want to do brush embroidery for the roof. And when you're working on brush embroidery, you kind of need a dry surface or you're just going to damage it. I put that on yesterday so that it would be dry for you guys to. So you can have it just be a circle, but I do like having a bit of like something in the window. So I'm just putting some frame in there. And if your icing is very stiff, well, you're going to have to fiddle a lot to get everything to kind of like melt together. So if your icing is a little bit on the more runny side, it's just helpful for it to kind of rest. It's not able to stand up. And so your points, like there's not going to be these little Hershey's Kisses things, these little kind of like at the beginning and end. So just makes things a little bit faster. Like the cross here where they intersect, it just self-levels, they sync. So you don't always, if you have hundreds of cookies to do, this little tip can save you a lot of time, not always having to go back, tapping everything on the head.
Yeah.
You agree?
I agree.
So now I've got the purple. And if you think about your project, so you make your purple, your orange, and don't make the brown if you can until you're done all those elements. So then you can take that leftover purple and orange and make your brown. So it's a great way to kind of use up all your colors.
And then, so the roof color, what is that?
That's kind of like kitchen sink. Because it's not really that visible. You'll see on the finished cookie, because of the brush embroidery, I did put it just so to raise up the surface so that when I do the brush embroidery, it's higher than the house color. So you could actually do the whole thing in purple if you wanted, but it's just kitchen sink. And kitchen sink means just I threw what I had left over in a bowl and kind of swirled it around.
Mm-hmm.
So Heather says that whole leaves make good poinsettia petals.
Oh, yes.
Okay, yes.
So this is the season of kitchen sink icing. I mean, it's the most perfect time to use up your random colors on your Halloween cookies.
Yeah.
Amber, do you want to try and read this comment, please? Thank you.
Yeah, so Milda is saying they're very cute, but feels fiddly to do, I guess, with all the little details.
I think, sorry?
Well, I guess I'm not really sure what the question is because she's asking about having the baking or the printout that goes under the baking paper, but you do have that, right? That's what you were showing earlier, is that you have a template available that you can print out, and then you can put that under the paper and then just pipe over it, which makes it go a lot faster than trying to do it all by hand or trying to do it right on the cookie. So Marlon does have the templates available for you to print out if you want to try it. And then I'm sure that in your groups, Mar, you have recipes for the different consistencies and everything and how to make them. And yeah.
And the thing is it is fiddly, these little cookies, but that's what makes them cute, like all the little details. And the transfer, you can make them in advance, and it's less overwhelming on, like, you don't make these on October 30th.
Right. And how do you find the Ateco tips compared to the PME?
You know, the PME is a little more expensive, and so I usually will buy, you know, the 1.5, the one that's a little it's unique to them, you know, for the that round tip. But the Ateco are very good. They're very nice.
Yeah, to me, I feel like PME is just like a very like top of the line, really high quality tip, but they're expensive, rightfully so. So, but if you need like a bunch of tips, then you're going to go for the Ateco or the Wilton.
Exactly, and you can get a few,
but they're still good.
Yeah, you can get a few, right? You don't like, you can get like a few of the small round ones, and then
like I think you have like maybe like Ateco, they have certain piping tips that I guess maybe nobody else carries, like certain sizes of leaf tips and things like that. So maybe look at the really like specialty ones, like Marlene said, 1.5. It's a great piping tip to have if you are decorating cookies.
Yeah, like that's the one I have. 1.5.
I don't know if you see a difference with a star tip, for example.
Right.
I mean,
or with like
it needs to be a nicely cut metal, so you don't have a, you know, so the points are even and everything. But Ateco is an excellent brand.
Yeah.
So,
Mar, you're on camera.
A lot of money to spend, because Ateco, like for example, 1.5 now I think it runs what, $5-6 each. One piping tip. That's one piping tip.
Yeah. So they're just they're very special.
If you have a kitchen, this, you know, what's it called, disposal, the, you know, the kitchen sink,
the garbage disposal.
Yeah, if you have so just like forget to, don't clean it there, because once it gets it's ruined.
Yeah.
So depending on the colors, putting your wet your transfers in the wet icing sometimes can cause bleeding. So that could occur. The thing again with Halloween, if you're starting cookie decorating, Halloween is the best time to do it, because monsters are a little creepy and it's perfect. And if there's bleeding, well, you did it on purpose. It's a haunted house. So it's really the best time to start cookie decorating. Halloween is very forgiving time.
Yes.
Hello, Joseph. We haven't seen you in a while.
Hi, Joe.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Hope you're back in school.
So now I'm going to just add a little bit of brush embroidery to the roof here, just to like make kind of like shingles. So it's just dots, okay? And I'm working on the part that's dry. So the purple there is freshly applied. So you want to kind of stay away from that.
Mhm.
And you see this icing is stiff. The little dots are holding, and I pipe them just enough so that they're not going to touch once I squish down. Okay, so you want a brush that's damp but not so wet that like you're causing all this moisture, but the wet is just so that your tip, the brush, I mean, can slide. You see, so it
Mhm.
gets it. And then I'm putting in between those dots, kind of staggering and repeating to again create like the look of shingles, and doing exactly the same thing again. And if your brush is a bit loaded with icing, you can just wipe it off on a paper towel. But you see, you get this cute little root.
Adorable. So
Yeah,
Karen,
Karen,
I don't
that's
know, you only able to find 0 and 00.
I don't know that other brands make the like does Ateco have a tiny, tiny
Oh, you mean the only BME makes? Yes, I think so.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
they all. I have them both, but I have to say I rarely use them
Too
now.
small.
They
Yeah,
are it's I rarely use them, and
me
if I
too.
do use them, I have to actually strain basically my realizing through a clean pair of
Yeah.
nylon, even with like super fine sugar, which is incredibly hard to find here in Spain. So I
Mm.
So
rarely. Do you have that? I have both, but it's been actually years since I touched them.
I don't
yeah, I
have
don't use
those.
those either. It's very hard on your wrist. I find that if you really want to use a small hold, you're better actually with a tipless bag. It gets less clogged.
Yes,
So now,
that's what I do.
yeah,
Just
same
the
thing.
tipless one.
So now I
That
don't know. That's not ideal. Like my purple's not dry, but I just wanted to add a little bit of like scallop here along the roof line.
once you're finished with doing your beautiful scallop, maybe you can enjoy Heather's comment. You will appreciate it.
Okay.
This is so lovely.
Yes, that's correct. Absolutely. You could
Yeah.
have some blood coming out the windows. So now I'm just doing a zigzag along this roof line, just, you see, to
Mm.
give it like a bit of a front kind of looking.
And none of us sell our cookies anymore, but sorry, Han. Uh, somebody's asking.
I would say depending on the size, but I have to say you made me kind of when you say inappropriate, I was like, okay, where is this going?
I know this is a completely appropriate question. Yeah.
It's a very appropriate question.
Yeah.
How big is this cookie? It says what is this? 5 inches?
I think it's 4 inches at the bottom there. Hold on, let me put my little ghost
The
eyes
bottom,
up.
I think height is maybe 5. So this cookie with all the elements that Marlene had put on, I mean,
Here, I went to get my ruler.
I mean,
It's
okay, is
it's
it
like
4.5?
almost 5 inches tall, and it's 3.5 at the bottom.
3.5. Okay, so you calculate. I mean, I know Sweet Sugar Bell. She still has her chart up from
Hmm.
10 years ago. That was 10 years ago. So I would say easily $10.
And
Or
then you put some little candies in there. You put it in a nice bag with a bow. Yeah. See, June's saying at least $12 with packaging.
yeah, with the packaging, yeah. So because you have
And
to really,
and just another thing, if you've been hemming and hawing for a while about adjusting your prices, now's the time. Everybody's kind of like wrapping their mind around stuff.
yeah.
Sit down and do the math, because the price of butter, price of eggs, everything is going up. Don't worry about shocking your customers. Worry more about supporting, like, why are you doing it? You're doing it to support your family, and you shouldn't, this is party stuff. If they can't afford it, sadly, this is one of the things they're going to have to eliminate, and it shouldn't be at your expense so that they can have Instagrammable birthday pictures. Like
Yeah,
need
you
to take
can't work
care
for free.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
everybody's
Yeah.
got to pay their bills.
Colors going, you have to calculate kind of everything. And like Marlene said, if their electricity goes up 70%, that means it's going to cost you more to bake the cookies.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, everything is going up right now. Everything. So,
So
I forgot. If you want to have a window in the door, you can also do the outline around the.
and this color, it looks like I love electric colors. Is this like neon yellow or green or something that
This
you
is
make?
electric green. I
Electric-
didn't have the green that was made from the blue there and the yellow. So I just grabbed this. I was working on something else. I I like it better, I think, than the dark green just because it wasn't contrasting that well against the purple of the house. So you can
Oh,
use the stiff icing to do the doorknob too on the little on the door.
Joe wants to know our upcoming live stream
looking at it.
schedule.
Um,
There.
I can locate it.
So
Just a
cute.
So just to show that that ghost would have been tough to pipe on the cookie because it's angled and everything. It just sits differently when you pipe it and let it dry and then apply it. Like it's more difficult to pipe things, like the surface is not flat, so you can't get it as perfect when you're trying to work on the side of this roof line and all that. So these are like, makes
We,
it.
I'm sorry, Joseph. We have to create a shareable calendar because this is not a shareable calendar. But I do have. So today is the 20th. So it's Marlene. Next week on 27th, I will be in hot seat, and then we also have December, October planned. But I need to create a shareable calendar so we can share it here during the live.
So we're just about done, but I'm just going to quickly show you guys how I stand up my cookies. Now, generally, when I see people doing the 3D cookies, like here, let me just bring the one back here. Here's the little 3D scene. So generally, people will put the icing on and then stand it up. Okay, and if you have a bad experience with this, this is how I like to do it. Well, this cookie's not quite complete, but it'll be good enough to show you guys what I'm talking about. So I like to just add my icing to the bottom of the cookie. And if you're standing up your cookie and the bottom is not straight-ish, just use a, gosh, I'm blanking, the thing to sand down the cookie, the
Microplane.
Yes.
and that'll help to get the bottom a little bit kind of flatter, okay? So now I've got very, very thick icing, and I'm standing it up, like I'm holding it in my hand, and I'm pressing, and then I look to see if it's at a 45-degree angle, okay? And then I actually stand it on a cookie cutter. And I find that like gravity is not as hard on that little cookie as it is on the big cookie.
Mm-hmm.
And so this, if you just let it set up like this, usually, anyway, for me, I've had less issue. They stand up a little bit more easily. And if you take the time to kind of like, put your head sideways to make sure that the 45 is good, once it's dry, sometimes, you'll see that it's a little bit not quite straight. And if it's not perfectly straight, once it's in the bag, it could snap when you put stuff and everything. So just like kind of tilt your head to see if it's going to stand up straight and just let them set up.
We had another question that came in. I don't know if I'm understanding. Kathy, was the point of the roof done with a round tip?
Yes. But you could use a star tip. That would work. You could use...
Oh, you mean, okay, I'm sorry. You mean the brushed embroidery?
this here.
Oh,
This
that.
and
Okay,
this.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
And it just makes the roof a little bit more. I find that's what makes the cookies fun, is when there's all kind of textures, not just different colors. When there's a variety of textures, it makes it interesting,
Yeah, I love it. And I also love that the orange outline, when you can see it, it kind of gives it a glowing effect in the windows.
Exactly. This is
So
also
cute.
Halloween is the one time you can use up your orange marker.
Yes.
Right.
And isn't that your favorite holiday?
I really like Halloween. I find that I get a lot of like cookie inspiration during the Halloween. I like to incorporate candies in my designs, and I like Halloween and candy go hand in hand, right? And so I
So
like
this is a good question Bobby's asking. Do you ever do a channel in the bottom cookie to set the vertical one, or do you find that royal icing is enough to hold the two cookies together?
royal icing is edible cement. I mean, it's
It
pretty
is.
strong stuff, really. And so if you make that channel in your cookie, chances are you're just weakening your cookie.
Mm.
So, right? Anyway,
Yeah.
so if you've got a crack in it, your chances are your cookie will snap. The royal icing is really strong. So if you just got here, Alana, you can rewatch the replay as everybody else can. Once where the live is done, you guys can watch it's recorded and back up for you guys to watch. Yes, pricing. It is. I mean, it's an issue for any makers out there. You know, like the thing is we're competing with, big manufacturers that are making things with automated machines. Like I'm sure you've seen those machines now that are decorating cakes and decorating cookies. It squirts it out it ices the whole cake. Boom, it's done. And how do you compete with that? Well, you
Yeah.
compete by having an aesthetic that they just can't do. The robot can't. It looks sloppy and yeah, it's cheap, but you get what you pay for.
Welcome back, Alana. Even if it's the last minute, there is always a way to watch a replay, guys. So if you're watching this on replay, you can let us know by saying hello or posting replay and letting us know where you are watching from. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, we always get a kick out of seeing all the countries. I mean, the internet. That's what it is, I guess, right? I mean,
Yeah. It is.
so
Yeah.
surprising. Thanks everybody for joining us. So, Amber, I had showed it in the intro, but you didn't talk about your book today. Did you want to show your book?
Yep, here it is. Cookie Canvas coming out October 11th, so less than a month before it comes out. You can pre-order it. You can pre-order it now from Amazon and all the usual places. If you want a signed copy, just click the link in my comments. It'll bring you to the page where you can get a signed copy. And thanks, Nina. Yeah. That's it.
So you can find the link. I think it's in your Instagram. Let's say you're having trouble. She has everything in her Instagram bio. I think you have a link tree there, right?
Yep.
Yeah, sometimes
link
the links
in my bio.
Yeah, link in the bio. Thanks, everybody. So here, let me remove this. Let's put us back together. The trio back together. Thanks, everybody, for joining us today. And did you say you're next, Hen?
Yes, I'm next week. I'm in the hot seat next week, and next week we'll be doing something fallish.
Fallish? Well,
Yeah.
we're
I will be using actually the kit next week. I will be utilizing our second kit that is coming out in the month of October. That's the kit with 101 cookie cutters. So I'll be utilizing this kit so you guys can see what can be done and how fun it is to use all these different tools.
Yeah, your husband was given proper instructions. That's good.
Thank you. Awesome.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us. We'll see you next Tuesday. Bye.
Bye.